Hands where I can see them.
What's happening? This is my apartment.
Save it. We have a warrant. You're coming with us.
But I live here. I'm Sarah. Can you just check?
I don't need to check anything. Turn around.
It was 2:17 in the morning. Sarah Martinez was asleep in her bed. Then her door crashed open. Police, don't move. Hands where I can see them. Sarah jumped up. Her heart was pounding. A flashlight blinded her eyes. What is happening? She said. This is my apartment. Save it. We have a warrant. You're coming with us. But I live here. I'm Sarah. Can you just check the address? I don't need to check anything. Turn around. Please, there's cameras. Just look at the door number. The officer laughed. Okay, sure, cameras. Turn around now or this gets worse for you. Officer Derek Reynolds had no idea what he just walked into. In the next 72 hours, his career would end. His freedom would be taken. His department would face the biggest lawsuit in county history. The confused woman in pajamas was not just any resident. She was a federal police trainer. She had spent 11 years teaching officers about the law. She had written the training manual Reynolds was supposed to follow. Sarah Martinez had testified in 47 police cases, and her apartment had 6 cameras, every angle, clear audio. The wrong address lit up in her hallway light for 8 full minutes. Every second was uploading to the cloud. Before I continue, let me ask you, have you ever been treated unfairly by someone in power? Drop your answer in the comments. But Officer Reynolds had no idea who he just put in handcuffs. Sarah Martinez was 34 years old. She worked as a police trainer. 12 state agencies paid her to teach their officers. She had a degree in criminal justice from Arizona State. She also had a master's degree in public administration. For 11 years, she worked in federal jobs. She started at the Department of Justice. Her job was to watch police departments and make sure they followed the rules. She knew the Fourth Amendment better than most lawyers. That's the law that protects people from bad searches. Here's what makes this story wild. Sarah helped write the training book that 340 police departments use. She had testified as an expert in 47 police cases. Officers lost 44 of those cases because of her testimony. She had trained over 2,000 cops on how to serve warrants the right way. She moved to this apartment 8 months ago after her divorce. She picked this building because it had good security. She installed 6 cameras herself, old habits from her job. On this Tuesday night, Sarah was just trying to sleep. She had a 6 a.m. flight to California for court. She set 3 alarms. She never needed any of them. Now here's what happened next. Officer Derek Reynolds had been a cop for 9 years. His badge told one story, his file told another. Reynolds was 41 years old. He worked in the warrant unit. His job was to arrest people with warrants. He had tried twice to become a detective. Both times he was turned down. His bosses had seen his record. 7 complaints in 4 years. Every single one involved him being too rough or breaking rules. In 2020, he raided the wrong house. A family was held for 3 hours. The department paid them $45,000 quietly. In 2021, he made a bad traffic stop. His body camera stopped working. The charges were dropped. In 2022, he went to the wrong apartment. Same apartment complex as Sarah's. A resident got hurt. The department said he did nothing wrong. 4 more complaints came after that. All were marked as false or cleared. His supervisors said he needed more training 3 times. It never happened. Other officers called him Cowboy Derek. It was not a compliment. That night, Reynolds had a warrant for Marcus Webb. Marcus was wanted for assault. The warrant said Building 7, Apartment 3D. Reynolds drove to Building 4, Apartment 3B, different building, different floor, different person. He had cut corners before. It always worked out. Until 2:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. Type accountability in the comments if you think this pattern should have been caught sooner. It was Tuesday, March 14, 2023. The time was 1:45 in the morning. Desert Vista apartment complex sat in Mesa, Arizona. It had 12 buildings. They all looked the same. Beige walls, confusing numbers, easy to get lost. The night was quiet. Temperature was 58 degrees. Most people were asleep. working people with early shifts. The parking lot lights made orange shadows. Sarah had gotten home at 9 p.m. from a training trip. She packed for her California court case. She read case files until 11:30. She set 3 alarms for the morning. She fell asleep at midnight. 10 minutes later, Reynolds left the station with his warrant. At 1:52 a.m., he arrived at the complex. His partner had called in sick. He was alone. Sarah's Ring doorbell caught him at Building 4 at 2:08 a.m. He spent 9 minutes walking around the wrong building. Here's the thing, Building 4 and Building 7 look the same, but Building 7 is across the parking lot. The warrant clearly said Building 7, Apartment 3D. Reynolds never checked. At 2:14 a.m., he stood at Sarah's door. Her Ring camera shows he never know. Seacared never said police. At 2:15 a.m., he tested the door handle. At 2:16 a.m., he put his shoulder against the frame. At 2:17 a.m., the door broke open. If stories like this matter to you, hit that subscribe button. Sarah woke up to the sound of wood breaking. She stumbled into the hallway. She was wearing pajamas. A flashlight hit her face. Get on the ground, now. This is my home. What are you doing? We have a warrant. On your knees. Sarah got down. Her training kicked in. She spoke clearly. Officer, can you check the address on your warrant? I don't need to check anything with you. The door number is right there. 3B, can you just look? Stop talking. Hands behind your back. Reynolds put handcuffs on her. She was lying on her own living room floor. I'm not fighting you. I'm doing what you say. Please check the address. You can explain at the station. I'm not who you're looking for. My name is Sarah Martinez. Sure it is. Reynolds started searching her apartment. He opened bedroom doors. He looked in closets. Sarah spoke from the floor. You don't have permission to search. The warrant is for one person. Lady, I've been doing this for 9 years. I know what I'm doing. The camera caught his face when he said this. He found no one else. He saw women's clothes, makeup, signs of a single woman living alone. He came back to Sarah. Where is he? Where's Marcus? I don't know any Marcus. I live alone. Please just check your paperwork. Reynolds got angry. He said she was lying. He said Marcus was seen in the building. This is Building 4. What building does your warrant say? For the first time, doubt crossed his face. The camera caught that too. Then something wrong happened. Reynolds made the handcuffs tighter. Sarah's wrists hurt. That's too tight. I'm not fighting you. Then stop talking. The bruises would show up in hospital pictures later. Let me know in the comments. Should officers be allowed to ignore requests to check their paperwork? At 2:29 a.m., Reynolds finally pulled out the warrant. The camera caught his face as he read it. The address said Building 7, Apartment 3D. He was in Building 4, Apartment 3B, not even close. Sarah spoke from the floor. Officer, what does the warrant say? Reynolds said nothing. I'm going to guess it says Building 7. This is Building 4. You broke into the wrong apartment. Reynolds tried to explain. There's been a mix-up with the numbering. There's no mix-up. You didn't check, and I have it all on camera. This was the moment everything changed. Reynolds started to take off the handcuffs. Look, these buildings all look the same. It's an honest mistake. Breaking down my door at 2 a.m. without checking is not an honest mistake. It's against the law. Let's not make this bigger than it needs to be. Then Sarah told him who she was. Officer Reynolds, I can see your name badge now. I'm a federal police trainer. I teach officers how to serve warrants. I helped write the book on checking addresses. His face went pale. I've testified in 47 cases against officers. You just became number 48. Sarah pointed to the cameras. That one caught you not knocking. That one caught you breaking in. That one caught you searching without permission. That one caught you tightening my cuffs when I asked questions. It's all uploaded, cloud storage, you can't delete it. Reynolds reached for his radio. He stopped. At 2:34 a.m., he finally called for help. I need a supervisor at Desert Vista Complex, Building 4. There's been a situation. Sarah spoke up. Tell them to bring internal affairs. They'll want to see this footage. The noise had woken the neighbors. Mrs. Patricia Okonkwo lived in apartment 3A. She was 62 years old, a retired teacher. She heard the door break. She recorded the aftermath on her phone. James Chen lived in apartment 3C. He was 28 and worked in computers. He saw Reynolds enter the building from the parking lot. No lights, no siren. He gave a statement that night. At 2:45 a.m., Sergeant Williams arrived. He was an 18-year veteran, a trained supervisor. He looked at the scene. Broken door, shaken woman, nervous officer. Reynolds, give me the warrant. He compared the address to the apartment number. This says Building 7. Reynolds tried again. The buildings looked the same. Sarge, anyone could have made this mistake. Stop talking now. Here's a moment that restores some faith. Sergeant Williams did exactly what a good supervisor should do. He separated Reynolds from the scene. He checked on Sarah. He called internal affairs right away. Not every cop is bad, but the bad ones need to be caught. Type justice in the comments if you think Sergeant Williams did the right thing. Sergeant Williams took charge of the scene. He called for a second unit to guard the area. He walked up to Sarah. Ma'am, are you hurt? He saw the bruises on her wrists. He told her she should see a doctor. He called the internal affairs duty officer, not later, right then. Sarah showed Williams her camera system, all 6 angles. He watched on her phone screen. His face changed as he watched. This is bad. This is really bad. The footage showed everything. No knock, no announcement, forced entry without a good reason, wrong detention, search without permission, too much force with the handcuffs, 8 full minutes of rule breaking. Reynolds tried to explain. His story fell apart. He said the buildings weren't marked clearly. The video showed the building number lit up by parking lot lights. He said he announced police. 6 cameras caught 0 sound of him saying it. He said Sarah was fighting him. The footage showed her doing everything he said. He said it was normal procedure. Williams shook his head. Nothing about this was normal procedure. At 3:30 a.m., Reynolds was put on leave. Williams took his badge. Williams took his gun. Other officers drove Reynolds away from the complex. Internal Affairs started their investigation before the sun came up. But wait, there's more to this story. Sarah went to Banner Desert Medical Center. A doctor checked her injuries. Both wrists had bruises. Her blood pressure was high. She was stressed and shaken. The doctor wrote it all down. That report became proof in court. By 4 a.m., Sarah was sitting in the emergency room with bruised wrists. Officer Reynolds was sitting in his car at the sheriff's station. His whole career had just been uploaded to the cloud. Something good came from this terrible night. The system worked because good people made it work. Sergeant Williams did his job. The doctors wrote down what they saw. The cameras told the truth. If you want more stories about justice and accountability, hit subscribe right now. Sarah left the hospital at 6 a.m. She missed her flight to California. She booked a new one for Thursday. Then she made a choice. She downloaded all the footage. She saved it to multiple drives. She called her lawyer. His name was Marcus Webb, same first name as the man on the warrant. Strange coincidence. Her lawyer said 4 words. Sarah, you have to release this. Here's how fast it spread. Wednesday at 2 p.m., Sarah posted a 4-minute video on Twitter. She wrote, "Last night, an officer broke into my home. Wrong address. I train police departments. I have it all on camera." By 4 p.m., 50,000 people had watched it. It was trending in Arizona. By 7 p.m., the local news ran the story. They showed the ring footage. By 10 p.m., 500,000 people had seen it. Thursday morning, national news picked it up. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all of them ran stories. By Thursday at midnight, 3.2 million people had watched. The hashtag Wrong Apartment was trending across the country. The numbers kept climbing. Twitter had 2.1 million views. TikTok clips got 4.7 million views combined. YouTube news videos got 1.8 million. Facebook had 890,000 shares. People were angry. One comment got 47,000 likes. She trains cops, and he still did this. Think about what happens to regular people. Another got 31,000 likes. 6 cameras, he still lied. This is why we need accountability. The sheriff held a press conference on Friday. Officer Reynolds has been fired. This behavior is not acceptable. In 72 hours, Derek Reynolds went from cop to national symbol of police failure. Comment below, were you surprised how fast this spread? Share this video if you think others should see it. Sarah Martinez was not done, not even close. Within 2 weeks, the state filed criminal charges against Reynolds. Breaking and entering, that's a serious felony in Arizona, assault for the handcuff injuries, unlawful imprisonment, violating civil rights. 6 weeks later, the federal government added more charges, violating rights while acting as a police officer. That's a federal crime. Then something else came out. Investigators found text messages. Reynolds had texted his partner, the one who called in sick that night. His message said, "Don't say anything about the address thing, I'll handle it." His partner gave the texts to investigators. Reynolds got another charge, trying to cover up what he did. Now here's where it gets interesting. Reynolds had a choice. The government offered him a deal, plead guilty, serve 5 years. He said no, he wanted a trial. Bad choice. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Sarah testified for 6 hours. The jury watched all 6 camera angles. Reynolds' lawyer said it was an honest mistake. The prosecutor showed his 7 prior complaints, pattern of behavior. The jury took 4 hours to decide, guilty on every charge. The sentence, 38 years in federal prison. Let me break that down. 8 years for breaking and entering, 6 years for assault, 5 years for unlawful imprisonment, 10 years for civil rights violation, 9 years for the cover-up. The judge spoke directly to Reynolds. This was not a mistake. This was a pattern. You ignored the rights you swore to protect. But there was more. Sarah filed a lawsuit against Reynolds, against the sheriff's department, against the county. The settlement amount, you want to know, $4.7 million. $1.2 million for what she went through, $2.5 million to punish the department, $1 million for lawyer fees, plus the department had to change its rules. Reynolds is now in prison. His pension is gone. He can never be a cop again, anywhere. 38 years, for 8 minutes of not checking a piece of paper, for thinking a badge meant never having to say sorry. After the settlement, Sarah stood on the courthouse steps. Reporters gathered around. She had something to say. I still check my door 3 times before I sleep. I wake up at 2 a.m. sometimes. My heart races. I wait for a crash that isn't coming. I know police rules better than most cops. I was still scared in my own home. She paused. I've trained over 2,000 officers. Most of them are good people doing hard jobs, but the system that was supposed to catch Derek Reynolds failed. 7 complaints, no real punishment, until me. Her voice got stronger. I had 6 cameras, I had knowledge, I had a platform. Most people who go through what I went through have none of that. What happens to them? She looked at the cameras. If you're someone who's been hurt by people who should protect you, write everything down. Your phone is a witness. Your voice matters. You have rights. And if you're an officer watching this, check every address, every warrant, every time, because the next person you wake up at 2 a.m. might be filming too. She talked about what she wants to see change: mandatory address checks, body cameras that always work, citizen groups that watch police with real power, tracking complaints so patterns get caught. Then she thanked people, her neighbors who spoke up, Sergeant Williams for doing the right thing, the jury who saw the truth. Her final words hit hard. I don't want Officer Reynolds to suffer. I want the next Sarah Martinez to be safe. That's the only justice that matters. Here's an unexpected twist most people miss. The ACLU says about 20,000 wrong door raids happen every year in America, but 94% of them end with no punishment for officers. Sarah won because she had cameras, knowledge, and attention. Most victims have none of those things. After this case, Arizona passed a new law. They called it Sarah's Law. It requires officers to confirm addresses on camera before serving warrants. The county changed its rules. 2 officers must now verify addresses together. But here's what still needs to change. There are no federal rules for warrant service. Most officers don't face personal costs. Taxpayers pay the settlements. The system protects officers more than citizens. Sarah had everything she needed to fight back. Most people don't. So let me ask you, do we wait for 38-year sentences to create change? Or do we build systems that stop the problem first? Do we accept that safety depends on having 6 cameras and a law degree? Or do we demand protection for everyone? Do we keep paying settlements with tax money while officers keep their pensions? Or do we finally make individuals pay for their mistakes? Because if we don't fix training that skips address checks, if we don't catch patterns before they hurt people, if we don't build oversight with real power, then we're just waiting. Waiting for the next Reynolds, the next wrong door, the next person handcuffed in their own home at 2 a.m. and hoping they have cameras. Comment below if you believe we need federal rules for warrant service. Tell me your story. I read every single one. If you think stories like this matter, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing these patterns. We're going to keep demanding accountability. We're going to keep fighting for documentation rights, for civilian oversight, for systems that protect everyone. This isn't just about one officer who couldn't read an address. It's not just about one woman who had cameras. It's about all of us, and whether we accept a system where your rights depend on your resources. Sarah Martinez didn't need those cameras for herself. She needed them for the next person. Maybe that person is you. See you in the next one.